For the longest time, colorism is assumed to be a phenomenon that was only limited to the POC communities. Of course, all the studies and the roots of having such a problematic phenomenon suggested otherwise. And yet, for the white people to realize that their community not only perpetrated the entire phenomenon, but also suffered from colorism, someone needed to make a TikTok video about it. Yes, no studies were impactful enough for such a revelation. But a single TikTok video has been able to transform the entire narrative around colorism and proved that white people experience colorism too. And it reveals itself in the form of being blonde or brunette. I know, it sounds ridiculous. Like, who cares whether you have blonde hair or brown hair, right? Well, wrong. Unfortunately, that's not how colorism works. In today's video, I'll take you on a journey through colorism and how it reveals itself not only among the POC communities, but also white communities. So without further ado, let's dive in. If you didn't know, colorism is a form of prejudice or discrimination, often within a racial or ethnic group, where individuals are treated differently based on the social meanings attached to skin color. I know, this is such a boring definition. Here's a less boring version. Colorism basically means that the tone of your skin color determines the entire trajectory of all of your social interactions, in a world where most people unfairly favor lighter skin colors over the darker ones. Unfortunately, this bias can manifest in various areas, including employment, the justice system, media representation, and interpersonal relationships. Why though? Like, where did this discrimination come from in the first place? The roots of colorism can be traced back to colonialism and the slave trade, where skin color often determined an individual's role, status, and value. Are any of you guys surprised to hear that? I'm not. Sometimes I feel like we can trace back every single modern problem to colonialism. Ugh, hate it. Anyways, apparently at the time, lighter-skinned individuals might have received preferential treatment, access to certain jobs, or other advantages over their darker-skinned counterparts. The reason why the lighter-skinned individuals were favored was that their facial features had more similarities to the European features. In other words, the basis for colorism comes from the proximity to whiteness. And as you can imagine, this historical context has contributed to ongoing disparities and attitudes that persist today. When researching for this video, I found a bunch of studies on colorism and its impact on various racial and social groups. For instance, a study published in the American Economic Review found that light-skinned African Americans have an 8% wage advantage over dark-skinned African Americans. A Pew Research study found that 62% of Hispanic adults expressed that having darker skin impacts their overall experience in integrating and thriving in the United States. Another study found that teachers may have unconscious biases that favor lighter-skinned students over darker-skinned ones, impacting the students' academic confidence and performance. Apparently, colorism affects even the justice system, as a study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology noted that lighter-skinned African American and Hispanic defendants are likely to receive lighter sentences than their darker-skinned peers for similar crimes. Like, what the hell? Of course, lighter skin tones are often disproportionately represented and idealized in media and advertising, which inevitably shapes our perceptions of beauty and success. It is clear that, regrettably, colorism has a huge impact on the POC communities. What about the whites, though? Well, I found an interesting study about how dark skin in white people is being perceived. This study, which is featured in the Journal of Social, Cognitive, and Affective Neuroscience, utilized MRI scans to observe amygdala activity, an area of the brain responsible for processing potential threats and emotions, in response to photographs of unknown black and white faces of different skin tones. The findings indicated that both light and dark-skinned black individuals triggered noticeable amygdala responses. Interestingly, photographs of dark-skinned white individuals prompted more significant amygdala activity compared to those of light-skinned white individuals. I thought that was interesting to know, especially after all this blonde hair saga on TikTok. A few weeks ago, a TikToker with blonde hair shared a video praising her blonde hair and basically claiming that brunettes had no chance in front of blondes.
Scrolling through pics of his ex-girlfriends. Blonde, blonde, blonde. Whoa, ugly blonde.
As you can expect, this video got a huge reaction and criticism from thousands of people. Many were pointing out the fact that the woman in question was not even a natural blonde in the first place, so what was the point? While others realized that the white community's colorism was towards the brunettes. Then, another TikTok video popped up with a blonde woman revealing that even though she was a natural blonde, she was still required to dye her hair blonde simply because even natural blondes don't actually have blonde hair in their adulthood. Well, at least the majority of them. When she stated that almost all blonde women we see around were actually dyeing their hair, she attracted a huge backlash from a big group of blonde women who were seemingly upset with the possible threat of losing their blonde privilege. I know, many of you guys are questioning what's the obsession with being blonde? Like, where did it come from? Well, according to this Cut article with the title The Politics of Blondness, From Aphrodite to Ivanka, blonde hair originated over 11,000 years ago from a genetic mutation in Northern Europe. Initially valued for its rarity and potential health benefits, such as enhanced vitamin D absorption in low-light regions, blonde hair evolved beyond a mere survival trait to become a symbol of sexual desirability. And even 11,000 years later, we are still at the same point with the blonde hair. Throughout history, many people tried their best to make their hair blonde through various methods, from pigeon excrement to lemons, to achieve its golden hue. In the Renaissance, blonde hair was regarded as the epitome of beauty. In the 18th century, blondness started to be associated with naivete and promiscuity. Is having blonde hair truly a privilege, though? Well, according to a Vogue article titled Why Blonde Privilege is Real, From Barbie to the White House, yes, the blonde privilege is a real phenomenon. The article focuses on a project by Claudia Rankine and John Lucas, investigating the complex interplay between personal choice and the societal influence of blonde hair. Stamped, their innovative exhibition uses custom-made postage stamps featuring various shades of blonde hair to critique its symbolic currency in society. Through this lens, they probe the motivations behind dyeing hair blonde, from the pursuit of youth and attention to expressions of individuality, all while navigating the intricate dynamics of race, privilege, and beauty standards. Because only 2% of the society has natural blonde hair, I get the privilege that comes from the rarity. As I mentioned, historically, blonde hair was less common among the global population, primarily found in Europe. And this rarity made it automatically more desirable. It is also claimed that blonde hair is often associated with youthfulness because children's hair can lighten from sun exposure, typically darkening as they age. Apparently, this subconscious association with youth often translates to perceptions of vitality and fertility, thus making blonde women more desirable. To be honest, I hate this argument. And even though I looked it up, I couldn't find any legit studies that can back this perception.
God damn it.
God damn it!
God damn it.
But there are claims like this, so just that you know. Also, in some historical periods, lighter hair colors, including blonde, were associated with higher social status. This association can be traced back to the aristocracy and nobility in various European societies, where lighter skin and hair were often idealized as markers of wealth and class distinction, which explains today's colorism. Of course, the film industry and media have played significant roles in perpetuating the desirability of blonde hair. Like, we can't deny the huge number of blonde-haired celebrities in Hollywood and how idealized they are. From early Hollywood to contemporary media, blonde actresses and models are often cast in roles that celebrate their attractiveness and desirability, reinforcing societal preferences. Of course, the most well-known name is probably Marilyn Monroe, who was the queen of blonde hair, and her legacy lingers to this day, with dozens still trying to mimic her appearance and reach that ideal. Now, it's clear that almost every aspect of life fuels a blonde privilege. Are they successful, though? Is there really a blonde privilege? Well, the studies show that yes, there is a blonde privilege. A study by Augsburg University in Minnesota involved showing 110 men images of women with various hair colors and lengths, asking them to assess each based on age, health, attractiveness, relationship potential, and parenting ability. The findings suggested that men generally found women with light hair more attractive, considering them younger and healthier, but also more likely to be promiscuous, leading to a preference for dating them over brunettes. Also, Nicolas Guégan's research in nightclubs, detailed under the title Hair Color and Courtship, showed that women with blonde wigs received the most attention. However, a separate study indicated that blonde men did not enjoy the same level of success in initiating interactions with women. So this privilege seems to be specific to women, which is very interesting in my opinion. But what are your thoughts on colorism among white people? Do you think the blonder the better? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.